Wednesday, June 26th, severe storm outbreak coming to British Columbia. Let's have a look at some of the hail parameters, some of the severe characteristics of these storms, what to expect, and why they will be severe for almost certain. All right, let's go.
This is bad news.
My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Wow.
I'll watch the video later.
Feel the heat.
I need more blanks, I need water.
Ain't dry mopping this.
All right, they took their time getting it out to us today. Here is the severe weather threat for Wednesday. Up and down the entire western side of the continent, we're going to see thunderstorms, of course, and British Columbia is going to see some of the severe ones in characteristic regions. Let's have a go look through all of them. We even have one listed for I here, but there's nothing written for I, so we don't know what's going to happen in I yet, but we're going to find out. We're going to look at it and find out really closely. Well, up in H, we got 60, 80 kilometer winds, hail on the 1 to 2 in the scale, 15 to 25. What is that scale? We're going to look at that scale a couple times today. We're talking about the Toro scale, okay? So the Toro scale, if we're talking about 1 to 2, we're talking about mothball, marble, grape size, right? So millimeters, 10 to 15 millimeters is size 1, 16 to 20 for size 2, right? So that's the hail size and diameter code. So potential for some of those mothball size hail, and that includes up into E as well. Where is E? That's all around Cranbrook and whatnot. So even these areas that aren't sort of listed for the high, they're more the moderate risk. Well, when we say moderate, in the weather world, generally it means like storms are going to happen. Always an alarm bell. And we may see some of these areas go high tomorrow with more characteristics that are even more severe than what we have listed here. Perhaps in the Prince George region, the big threat they're thinking so far is 20 to 30 millimeter rain bursts. This whole sea that goes Fort Nelson all the way wrapping around through the Coast Mountains down maybe somewhere around 100 Mile House. I don't know. These are just guesses, right? That sea area, smaller hail, bursts of rain. And it's very humid here in Wells right now. And you can kind of feel that the weather is certainly going to change. This is a look at helicity. Helicity measures how much wind shear is available there to get storms spinning, make them angry, whip them up further. Okay, we're having a look here at surface-based CAPE and the hodograph. The hodograph is helping us look at wind shearing at different levels in the atmosphere. So look, today at our hodograph, we see for southern interior, things are more or less going very straight. Winds are going more or less at all levels in a sort of an easterly bent. And we're going to watch how we have a nice change in that. Bam, we start to see that change coming into Wednesday right away. Suddenly, surface air is more or less going northward, while some of the air, as you go a little higher up in the atmosphere, you go up to 5 to 10 kilometer mark, it's going more, and it's fast, it's moving fast. And it's going on a northeast sort of bent at that point, at that higher level in the atmosphere. And we're going to watch how that hodograph suddenly starts warbling and doing different things, and bam, look at that. That gives you an idea right there. Whenever you see that kind of a thing, that's a good example of what to expect for something on a severe day. Because now we got surface winds pushing south, but then we go up a kilometer, you got ones that are going east, but then you go another 3 kilometers up and they're going more or less northeast, but then you go up to 5 kilometers or whatever, and as you go higher up, they're traveling faster and faster there, but they're going suddenly as the low whips around to the northwest. Now, that's a really good example of winds that are all over the place as you go up, and they keep changing. And also, we got that surface-based CAPE. We see that gray here. Now, of course, when you got a high potential CAPE in the south, that's common, but it's not that common for here in British Columbia. And we have a lot of things that help aid in lifts, such as mountains and things like that, different climates, different dry belts and wet belts. So sometimes when you see even a little bit of this gray in British Columbia, that's usually a sign that we're probably going to see some pretty strong thunderstorms. We don't need much in BC often to set things severe. So coming into Thursday, we see that hodograph is really all over the place, and it takes a few days before it straightens out again. And then it does straighten out for a little while until we come into Sunday when things start getting messed up again. So we know Sunday, Monday, anyways, there's going to be some kind of a severe outbreak. That's for the next video. And look at how much precipitable water is there in the atmosphere. And here in Tuesday, very dry in southern British Columbia, actually, but that's going to change quickly. And we're going to watch now as this flow takes a jump north and pushes some of that precipitable water up into the central interior. We watch Wednesday at the relative vorticity that's going to be coming into British Columbia. Some strong values there, strong values. That vorticity, at different levels of the atmosphere, how much can things get moving this way before they're pushed that way, before they're pushed this way as you go up. And that's the kind of thing that often will get storms rotating. So we do have that potential for small, limited spouts, of course. Like we don't see strong tornadoes ever in BC, but they seem to come out of the blue in these sort of setups. They're very hard to predict. They're never really long lasting. So what I've set up here is some hail parameters and some vorticity parameters. We're going to look at the kind of hail we might see come into BC with some of these storms. Here we are, June 26th. Where do the hail parameters develop in BC? So southern interior looking really good along that US border. So maybe south of Penticton, places like that. Even along the north coast, could see some hail. That looks pretty good. But now we see an increasing, a depth and a darkening. We're going up to 1 on the hail parameter there and developing in the central interior. That's a strong color. There's our mothballs somewhere probably in there. On Wednesday, some flashing overnight going on in the far north up there, Alaska, Yukon, maybe places like that. No big deal. Strong thunderstorms developing over on that eastern flank of the continent. 10 a.m. we start seeing that develop along that flank of east flank of the Coast Mountains and that sort of dry belt. So maybe up through Merritt, Lytton, Kilchina, Princeton, Lillooet, Clinton. That's just where it's going to start by 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You're probably going to already be in it. It's probably already going to be happening. Low should be sitting right over the Caribou. On the flanks of the low should be where the strongest storms are. So we're looking at maybe north of Prince George and just south of it, south of Williams Lake. And we watch that low squeeze up, move in through the Caribou, in through Kamloops, Kelowna, all those sort of the locations, Quesnel. So a good run of it on Wednesday. Places like Savannah, Cache Creek maybe have good setup. 100 Mile House maybe has good setup. So good setups for lots of places. So look out for large hail. Look out for damaging winds. Look out for bursts of rain. Look out for maybe intense lightning and things like that. You know, just at the surface on Wednesday, got air rushing up from the south, trying to pull itself into the central interior where there's a bit of a convergence going on. And that flow that's southerly continues right up until you get up to about the 9,000 meter mark. That's our first marker. That's about the height of Mount Everest, 29,000 feet or so. And then you see an active jet that's really moving eastward at that point. So you have winds on the surface kind of pushing north. That'll give us different motions of air at different heights, which can lead to storms being able to rotate, which could lead to the development of supercell thunderstorms. And then when you go up to the very top at 30 kilometers, winds are actually coming from the east. In the next 3 days, we're probably looking at the strongest, heaviest rains in that, what would be the south end of the North Rockies. And then as well in possibly through that West Caribou out past Nazco. Could be pretty wet out there. Almost everyone's seeing a little bit of rain though, so that's good. So by the time we look at Thursday at 7 in the morning, very, very humid in lots of places. And the dry really is only up in the far north. So active fire behavior remains still more or less in that Peace region, although they've had a lot of rain, so that should suppress things for a little while. I expect active burning to come back, but we'll talk about all that in a new video, a specific fire weather forecast. Anyways, I'm Joey Only. I hope you found any of this helpful. Prepare for severe thunderstorms in much of southern British Columbia. Stormy, 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 and then we're probably going to get another round sometime Sunday, Monday. Not exactly sure when. The timing is still sort of up in the air, but more or less the way it's coming together completely makes sense, so that's what to expect. So hit like, share, subscribe, tell a friend. Caribou Weather Dude here in Wells, British Columbia. It's your show about the interior. Okay, bye.